I said that, and now, now, I'm live. Okay, now I'm live, finally. YouTube has finally decided to respond to me. All right, so let's just kick this off. Let me adjust things here a smidge. Nope, don't want that way. I got to get my screen here configured correctly so I can see my notes. Bruh. Hopefully it puts... Yeah, there we go. Right where I wanted them. Right where I wanted them. Okay. So we shall begin the recording. Shall we? We shall. We shall. Seems like my audio is a little bit low. There we go. All right, folks, and we are back with another edition of the Missouri Liberty Report. Thanks so much for joining me once again this week. So, before we begin, people, if you can hear the sound of my voice, if you can hear my voice right now, we still need you to call Dean Plocher's office. Continue to blow up his voicemail. Continue to harass your local parasite representative, I guess you'd say. He still needs reminders that he works for the people of Missouri. So, that he clearly has his own interest in mind. He clearly does not care about the will of the people of Missouri. He clearly is working towards making himself money, campaign donations, and lobbyists, all this stuff. He's way more worried about that than he is about what you want to be done. Now, with that being said, House Bill 2009, Rudy Veit and Dean Plocher played a little game, and they mangled the bill, misled all the other people in the House, especially on the Republican side, screwed the pooch, and that bill's pretty much shot to hell. Also, 2118 never saw the light of day. It's awful. Plocher needs to go. And I mean, he needs to lose his job as a representative, needs to go. And literally, that's the only thing I have to say about it. He is as corrupt as the day is long, and again, he is worried more about power and money than the will of the people of Missouri. And let me just, before we start on, Voodoo Queen, Ganai, and Jonathan Ashley are all with me right now, and I thanks to you all for joining in right off the bat. But 2009 was the most called upon. They had the most people calling on that bill alone. So in popularity-wise, they had more calls on that bill than any other bill alone. So what does Plocher do? Because Plocher is the House leader. He chooses which bills go on what calendar and when they hit the floor to go up for debate, for a vote, what have you. He takes it and he mangles 2009. Him and Rudy Veit played this little game of let's screw this up so it doesn't go anywhere, basically. Because if you look up Plocher's lobbyists, he has all these different medical groups and prosecuting attorneys, which prosecuting attorneys and some law enforcement groups are why 2118 died. And 2009 because he has a lot of medical lobbyists in his back pocket. So they don't want parents deciding if their kids get certain vaccines or not. You just get them and shut your mouth. So, and then, of course, Rudy Veit was in on it. Now, Rudy Veit was the same guy who was on Austin Peterson's show. And And what they were talking about the gas tax, and Rudy's like, well, I really don't want to do this, but sometimes you got to make tough decisions. Same Rudy Veit, who now has pulled this crap, excuse me, with House Bill 2009. House Bill 1992, the sales tax on groceries. It didn't go anywhere either. But I do believe that MoDOT, certain people in MoDOT got raises. It's a good thing we got that gas tax involved so they could get more money, a better salary. So was it about the roads and bridges, or was it about something else? I don't know. But I would say it's not about roads and bridges. Now, Dean Plocher also pretty much kept SEPA at bay for 4 years. 4 years that man fought to keep that bill dead in the House. And eventually, the people of Missouri took over, stated their piece. He had no choice. That bill went through. So now is not the time to give up. Now is not the time to say, oh, well, we lost. Oh, no, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. There's still more work to be done. We have to, this is where we start networking and figuring out ways to repair these things, to remove Plocher from his post, because he's supposed to be the House Speaker in January of 2023. He becomes House Speaker. I like, and again, thinking about his powerful seat coming up, he had to show his hind end. And he had to be petty, because he's not returning phone calls on any of these things. He's not returning emails to anyone. Well, anybody that says, hey, we'd like to see these bills come through. He's not returning phone calls or emails to any of these people. Jonathan Ashley says Dean Plocher is like Caleb Rowden, a bad example of when birth control doesn't work. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Well, it's not kind of, sort of. That's absolutely correct. But it's just one of those things where you're like, seriously, people, can we not? Why do we have to be so stupid? And we're not stupid. They're stupid. But at some point, we're going to have to gain more traction. We're going to have to get more people in tune to the idea that your representatives work for you. And if you tell them, you make a bill that popular that had like 60-something co-sponsors, and one guy derails the whole thing, there's a problem. There's a problem. So maybe, I don't know, we work on changing House rules to say, well, no longer is one sole person going to have control over what bills hit the floor when. If it's a popular bill and the people have spoken, you better put it to the floor. You better put it up for debate. You better put it up for a vote. And not sit here because a lobbyist, but this is the inherent problem of government. It's just government in general. This is the issue. They respect money and power over the people who put them in office. It's in every state. It's especially awful in D.C., but in Missouri, we thought, and again, we didn't think this was going to be an easy fight. Nobody thought, oh, we got this in the bag, man. We got this thing nailed down. But this is a perfect example of bad representatives in the state houses. Caleb Rowden is another example. There's several. Dave Schatz, Caleb Rowden. I think Huff is another one. We got Plocher, the blocker. So, again, just before I go any farther, if you're able to make it to the Capitol Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, April the 26th, if you're able to make it to the Capitol for the rally, please do. Please do. Let's go around. Let's visit with state reps and talk to them. And, let them know what's on your mind. Let them know what's important to you. Let them know that if they're doing the right things, that you have their back, that you will support them any way you can. And for the ones who choose to ignore the will of the people, then maybe we need to send a message that we will do everything in our power to make sure that they never win an election again. But it's one of those things. We have to start. The work cannot stop. Now, is it a little bit harder because there's only like 3 weeks left in the legislative session? It could be a little more difficult, but there's no reason to give up now. We might have to push a little harder, make our case a little louder, but we still have the opportunity to do good works, to get these bills through. It's going to be an uphill battle. And he knows that. Plocher knew that. He just going to sit there and kneel on the ball, kneel with the ball. It's just like the last 20 seconds of a football game. We got the lead. We're just going to kneel. Run out the clock. That's what he's doing. He's just trying to run out the clock. Well, again, I say it's high time that we run out the clock on Plocher. And what I mean is we help him out the door of the Capitol building and say, well, it was nice knowing you. See you, wouldn't want to be you. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, or however you want to put it. But Plocher has got to go. So I ask all of you, any of you watching, which I know Ganai and Voodoo Queen especially, and Jonathan Ashley, they're all going to be, they're all a part of this. They're all making phone calls. They're all sending emails. But we need more. So those of you in the KEYK, MOLibertyRadio.us, all of you guys, maybe we've got to force the issue. We've got to talk to these people. Again, back the ones who are doing good things and put pressure on the ones who are dilly-dallying around. Now, I need to, let me see if I can pull up this other bill, because HB 2704 was slated to go through committee the other day, which it did. And it passed with it went through with a due pass, but apparently it might have gotten screwed up a little bit. So what I was told the other night was it went from 12 plants to 6, and you would still have to have a license. So they tinkered with the bill. Let me see if I can find the actual language, because that's just a summary, and I want to see the actual bill and see if I can find where it says. There's so much language in this bill too. It's kind of crazy. So I'm sure it's going to be down here towards the end, because this is an omnibus bill. So this is all they're going through all the names of all the different drugs and what's not covered under this bill and what's. But, again, the marijuana was going to be taken off the schedule and not called a drug, not going to be considered a drug anymore. This was also going to all these, good Lord, there's several pages of just drug names. Expunge records of all of these nonviolent, marijuana offenses. Let's see. I'm trying to find where it, because it should have been added. They said it was added, and I'm trying to look for it now, and I don't. But, man, there's a lot of language in this bill. I'm at page 37. Yeah, see, now here. The use or possession of marijuana shall in no way impede on a person's legal right to possess a firearm as long as a person is not in an intoxicated state as defined under 577.001. I think that was changed. Okay, so... Okay, tax shall be levied upon the sale of marijuana or marijuana products to consumers or buyers not licensed for resale at a rate of 4 and 225 thousandths percent. Let's see. So they're going on to where all the funds go to from the taxes. Man, I'm trying to find exactly where the about the licensure is. So this is going on about business, growers, a commercial growers license. Okay. Yeah, I'm at page 44 now. This is a long bill. But yeah, I'm not finding the part where they're talking about, and I'll go back and look through it again because I don't want to sit here and scroll and just talk. But they supposedly added that it was from 12 plants to 6, and that you would still have to have a license. And that is now, if the thing about that is, if this does go to the floor, that can be, the bill can still be perfected on the floor. They can remove those things. That's what they did to get it out of committee and onto the floor. But again, this old-fashioned way of looking at things, right? The old-fashioned way, we still have state reps, and we still have we still have just people in the general public who think that marijuana is some highly dangerous, toxic, drug, and it's a gateway drug. And so we're still stuck in that stinking thinking. Yeah, I'll post the link in the show notes so folks can read it. That's yep. I will do that. So after the show, if you look in the description section, I will be posting the link to that bill, the one that came out of committee, so anybody that wants to look at it can look at that bill. I need to do better at figuring out OBS, so people watching the live stream I can pull the web browser up and put it up in OBS so people can see what, as I'm scrolling a bill or whatever, they can actually see it. I need to do that at some point. I just haven't done it yet. I have a tendency to get a little distracted, so I try not to put up so much stuff that I overexpose myself, and then I'm sitting here stuttering and stammering as I'm trying to find my way back. I'm trying not to sound lost, dazed, and confused, if you will. Marijuana movie reference right there. But anyway, yeah, we still have backwards thinkers, and we still have people who want control, and they would just assume that the only people that really make money out of this, or they're trying to force people, they're trying to make it, they're trying to not make it cost effective for you to grow your own. They're trying to force you and try to herd you into still buying from dispensaries. Why? Because they'll get more tax revenue. If everybody's going to the dispensary to buy their own stuff, the state makes more money. It's this money-hungry, thought process they got going on up in their little, that little space up on top of their neck with all the rocks, clunking around in there. All the BBs rattling around, as my dad used to say. But it's absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. But this is what they're about. They're about the tax revenue. They worry about it so much. I actually got an email today from the Missouri Libertarian Party. And let me pull that up because that was also hilarious. I'm going to email this guy back because I wanted to slap him. So this one came from Jim Higgins. And let's see. Missouri Libertarians generally support the Legal Missouri 2022 initiative. So any of my anybody that belongs to the Libertarian Party, you need to school the Libertarian Party on what the better bill is. Because if you look through that Legal Missouri 2022, there's some print in there that they're not, bragging about. And that is the fact that there are only certain nonviolent marijuana offenses that would be expunged. I think if you had over a certain amount, you still have to finish serving your time, and then you can get it expunged. Where 2704 is just automatic expungement. Legal Missouri 2022 is going to be nitpicking, where the expungement comes in, and some people will have to finish their prison sentences. That's not what we want. And if you're a libertarian, that's not what you should want either. You should be demanding that all nonviolent marijuana offenses should be done like that. Gone, done. You release them from jail, expunge their records. Not, you had 5 pounds, so you got to stay in jail for another, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, however long your sentence is. Once you get out, we'll expunge your record for you. Absolutely not. No. No, 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 no. So, yeah. Jim Higgins at the Missouri Libertarian Party, you're wrong. And so I will email him back. Hopefully they get the email, so I can point to some things out to him and say, hey, you need to tell the people that you're sending these emails to House Bill 2704 is the way to go. And we'll see if they listen or not, because, again, I don't have a lot of trust in any political party. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, any of those. I don't have a lot of faith in them. And Ganai says they have other folks want to keep the monopoly growing. Yeah, they want to keep it on. Just keep on growing that monopoly on the medical marijuana and the licensure and the dispensaries. Again, I'm going to state this again. The only people who spoke out against HB 2704 were the big cultivation companies and the big dispensaries. Literally the only ones who had a problem with HB 2704. Everybody else completely fine with it. So, if our lawmakers are going to, push Legal Missouri 2022 over HB 2704, that means we have certain lawmakers who are more worried about state revenues than they are putting people in, or expunging and releasing people who are in prison for nonviolent offenses. That's just my 2 cents. But I mean, I don't know any other way to look at this but that way. I don't know how else to describe it. They're putting off a greedy, power-hungry vibe to me. So anyway, on all these bills, keep pushing. Also, remind them HJR 79 and the Senate joint resolutions on the initiative, the ballot initiatives and stuff that they're wanting to push through. I saw something from Jared Taylor. Jared Taylor, the author, one of the authors of the SAPA bill, he tweeted something today. Let me see if I can pull that up, because I did respond to that one too, because I said, hey, bro, what you doing here? Why you be doing these things? It said, I just had a paid signature collector ask me to sign a petition to expand the corrupt marijuana program and enact ranked choice, i.e. jungle primary. We need initiative petition reform now. Now in all caps with an exclamation mark. And I just responded, hard pass on this. Don't fall for the fear porn. They are hell-bent on making it harder for the people of Missouri to change the Constitution if they so choose to. And folks, don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. And don't let them fear you into thinking, oh my God, the libs are going to take over and just change the Constitution willy-nilly. If we want to change it, we'll change it. We get the chance to vote. So it doesn't mean if somebody gets enough signatures on a ballot, a ballot initiative, that it's automatically going to pass. But they've made statements. Well, some states don't even have it. Well, do we have to be like every other state? They're using the fear of the Democrats and the liberals and the Marxists and the socialists to try to get you to be scared. Oh my God, the libs could come in. Come on. That again, they're using this out. Well, I shouldn't say outdated because it still works on a lot of people. But they're using the same old, excuse me, cyclical Republican Democrat. Oh my God, the Republicans. Oh my God, the Democrats. They're still using that same old stupid speak. And again, it works on a lot of people. They freak out. They think that, oh my God, if we let the Democrats, have these ballot initiatives, oh my God, they could change the Constitution of the state of Missouri. Well, okay, you're going to use that as a fear weapon, beat people over the head, and get them to sign on to this. What about if a real conservative or a libertarian has a way of adding something to the Constitution that gains you more freedom? Are you okay with putting that in jeopardy because you're afraid of some Democrats? I mean, that's the question we have to ask ourselves here. How afraid are you to keep one group of people from maybe doing something? You'll also eliminate several other groups from being able to do something and fix things, amend the Constitution or whatever. So you're going to let one group of people screw it up for everybody. This is what government does. They take a blanket approach, and they just paint with a broad brush, and they use the wrongs of a few, the sins of a few, to punish everybody. And it's stinking thinking. But this is what government does. Government does this. They use an example of what a couple people do, and they just apply this regulation or law to everybody. They punish the many because of the few. I guess that's the way I should say that. They punish the many because of the few. And we see this time and time again. And what has it fixed? Anything government's done this with, what has it fixed? I'll give you the answer. It's zero things. They fix nothing. They just make it worse. Again, the Hegelian dialectic. You cause a problem, you wait for an outcry from the people, and then you come up with a solution that's worse than the original problem. That's what government does. They do it at the federal level all the time, and they do it at the state level. It's just a constant circular wheel of torture and stupid. I don't know how else to word it. Yeah, they will tell you they want to stop the George Soroses and Michael Bloombergs from controlling our state. Funny fact, they already have their hands in our state. Well, yeah, they do. They do. What we have to have is lawmakers with a backbone. You have to have representatives who trust their constituents. And again, serve the will of the people. That's what you have to have. You have to have representatives with a spine, so they stand up straight and they listen to their constituents, and they say, hey, we want House Bill 2009 to come through. Then House Bill 2009 hits the floor and moves on and doesn't have one moron holding up the works. One corrupt, greedy, power-hungry man held up multiple bills. I'm aggravated as all get out. So here's the thing. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but hey, what the heck? I think on April 26th, when you're at the Capitol, I think while you might be at the gun rights rally or whatever, we need to start a chant of Plocher the Blocker. Get as many people as you can chanting Plocher the Blocker at the state capitol on Tuesday the 26th. Think that might ruffle some feathers? Think that might make a point? It might. It might not. He might ignore it. Who knows? But I think it would be hilarious to see the result of that. To see him, he'd be in his office and he would just hear, even if it's just 100 people chanting Plocher the Blocker. We got to make our point. What the heck are they going to do? Honestly, what are they going to do about it? There's nothing they can do. We're not being violent. We're not cursing. We're not swearing. We're not screaming obscenities. We're not stealing things. This won't be another January 6th, all that stupid stuff. But we have to make a point. Plocher has to know how you feel. Any of these state reps that want, Rudy Veit's another one. Rudy Veit should be, I don't know, maybe we should call him Rudy Beat Feet Veit. I know that's a little tongue-tangly there, but, hey, Rudy, if you don't, hey, Mr. Veit, if you don't want to do your job, then you can just beat feet on out the door. I don't know. Make up something. Make up something creative. But yeah, we've got to make it known. And I think there's going to be some efforts here to make sure that, try and make sure that Plocher, again, isn't a representative for quite a long time. Maybe never again. Just hang something around his neck, let everybody know what kind of guy he is, and then can't get elected anymore. But that's the only thing I can, I don't know what else to do here, folks. Because he's not listening to the phone calls. He's not listening to the people. So you got to make your opinions and known. And again, be respectful. Do not curse. Do not name call. Do any of those things because that automatically shuts people down. Man, if you can come up with a creative way to troll the guy and get under his skin a little bit and let him know, we know what kind of guy you are. We know what you've done. Hey, why the heck not, right? Why the heck not? Sounds like a good time to me. All right, let me see what I got in articles here. Here's something interesting. Oh, I don't have the bill number up. Let me see. Oh yeah, here's one. House approves. This comes from stltoday.com, and I found this article yesterday. House approves rebate plan for Missouri taxpayers. Says Missouri House gave initial approval Wednesday to an election year plan to see how they put that in there, an election year plan. Yeah, because Democrats wouldn't do that, right? They wouldn't have election year plans to try to sway voters. Yeah, right. But it says the proposal, which was put on a fast track after the House endorsed a budget plan that left $1.8 billion unspent, needs one more vote in the House before it heads to an uncertain fate in the Senate. Under the plan, the amount of the rebate would be based on a tax filer's total annual income tax bill for 2021. If someone has paid the state $500 or more, they would receive the full credit. If someone has paid $15, they would receive a $15 check. It says married couples who file jointly could receive as much as $1,000. The overall cost of the plan is $1 billion plus $2.5 million for the Missouri Department of Revenue to process the checks. It says this is an attempt to offset some of the tax burden for the state's taxpayers, said Representative Cody Smith, who chairs the House Budget Committee. It gives people back some of their hard-earned dollars, said Rep. Sarah Walsh. Democrats complain that the proposal leaves out many low-income residents and seniors who pay little or no income taxes. Almost a third of Missourians won't get a penny, said Representative Peter Meredith. That's seniors on fixed income. Costs of living are going up. Republicans rejected Meredith's attempt to amend the legislation to limit the rebates to people who earn under $100,000. House Bill 3021 is a rushed and poorly conceived giveaway for the rich that deserves the death that awaits it in the Senate. Dirk Deaton said low-income Missourians have other options to receive assistance from the state, ranging from food stamps to assistance with utilities. Like other GOP lawmakers, he said the rebates are aimed at working-class residents. There's not been a lot of relief for them, Deaton said. Rebates have become popular among politicians on both sides of the aisle heading into the 2022 election cycle. Illinois, which is controlled by Democrats, has approved a plan to give rebates worth $50 per tax filer and $100 each for up to 3 children, as well as a property tax rebate worth a maximum of up to $300. It says the clock is ticking on Missouri lawmakers to complete the state budget, With a May 7th deadline looming, the Senate is putting the final touches on its version of the spending plan for the fiscal year beginning July 1st. Senate Appropriations Committee Chairman Dan Hegeman said Tuesday that the House rebate plan faces roadblocks in the upper chamber, which is still drafting its version of the budget. The rebate already is generating a buzz among Missouri taxpayers. A representative of the Department of Revenue told House members last week that people are already beginning to call the department asking about the money. Now, let me just say this. I have no problem with the state giving some of that money back, okay? But here's the thing. Why don't we just get rid of the Missouri income tax? Problem solved, right? Problem solved. Get rid of the Missouri income tax, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. And again, it's just a small little thing that they're going to do for people. And again, they have $1.8 billion they left unspent, and we're still having a record budget, so that still burns my butt cheeks. Sure, I'll take some of the money back that I paid in, but if you're that worried about the cost, the rising cost to working families, and just get rid of the income tax, Missouri income tax. That's a heck of a start. Again, I don't know what I pay per week, average on income tax. I can kind of look it up here on my pay app. I don't remember what it is, but, I guess if you figure it up week over week, month over month for the year, you might have a few more $1,000 that you would get back in, or that you would keep in your pocket. Let me see. Let me look at my statement here. Okay, so I pay $36 a week, roundabouts. $36 a week. So that's $144 a month. And what would that save me per year? 4 times 12. Clear. 144 times 12. No. So $1,728 a year that I would keep of my money. That depends on how much overtime I work. I mean, that goes up if I work some overtime and all that stuff. So $1,728. Now, some people are going to be like, well, that's not a lot of money. That's $1,728 more dollars than what you would have had. I mean, that's almost $1 an hour raise if you think about it. Yeah, and Voodoo Queen says they're past the edible food tax bill. Everyone buys food. Do you know anybody that doesn't buy food? Kind of hard to find those people out in the world that don't buy food. Those people are dead because they're not eating, or they have such a great garden and livestock at home that they don't have to go to the grocery store for food. And hey, if you can do that, that's amazing. But most people still have to go to the store and buy some food. So, yeah, I mean, we're sitting here talking, and this, but again, they're kind of right, because this is kind of an election year plan. It kind of is, okay? Let's be honest. I mean, again, giving us a rebate, okay, because they're not stealing the money and then give it back to you like we've done with the CARES Act and all that stuff. They didn't print a bunch of money and then say, here you go, here's 5%, we'll give 95% to the people that don't deserve it. This is money you've already paid in. It's already been paid in through taxes, and you just get a cut of that back. So I don't have a problem with that because they're not causing more inflation by doing that. But it is kind of an election year plan because, again, we've got bills. We got Bill Eigel trying to get rid of the personal property tax. We got another bill to end sales tax on groceries. You want to help offset the rising cost of just going to the store and going to work? How about doing those things? Eliminate the income tax, eliminate the grocery sales tax. Those are two things. That's a heck of a way to help people out. I mean, you figure up the taxes you might pay on groceries week after week, added to the income tax, you could be talking about thousands of dollars by the end, depending on your income, how big your household is, how much food you have to buy. That's a nice little chunk of change that you get to keep in your pocket. that the fruits of your labor get to stay in your pocket. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with keeping the fruits of your labor, no matter what big government boys say, boys and girls. I'm sorry, I assume genders. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. But you're picking up what I'm putting down. You're smelling what I'm barbecuing here. But there are ways to help Missourians out in this high cost of living that this inflation that we're going through right now, which is only going to get worse. But again, the representatives have to have a backbone. They have to have a spine and have to do the right things for you. I don't know how many people, if you said, hey, we're going to eliminate the income tax on everybody in Missouri. Missourians no longer pay an income tax. If someone speaks out against that and then is running for office and say, I care about the poor and the less fortunate, and they don't. They don't. If you're giving, especially, okay, so, a senior citizen and stuff like that, people on a fixed income may not be paying a lot in Missouri income tax, but they got to eat. So they really feel it when they go to the grocery store. Eliminate the sales tax on the groceries. Now you truly are helping the poor and less fortunate and senior citizens and those on a fixed income. You're helping all those people. You're doing something good for the working class, the poor, and the elderly. Everybody across the board gets a benefit. And you know why? Because government is stepping back, and they're taking one less thing from you. So when government begins to not be involved in a transaction of some kind, you're going to win. People win. More people win. Everybody that goes to your grocery store wins. How is that not a good thing? How is that? How can you not look at that and go, thumbs up, buddy? Again, we've got to start putting pressure on the legislation to get these things done. If they're going to talk the talk, they better walk the walk. If they're going to brag that they want to help out the middle class and the lower class and the family farmers and blah, 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 then we have to pressure them into actually doing the things they said they care about. The things they say that that's why they're running for office, to do these things. Then you have to put the pressure on them. You have to make it to where they understand that you heard what they said, and now you're pushing them to keep their campaign promises. And if they can't keep their promises and they can't do what they can to help you keep the fruits of your labor, help you keep more money in your wallet every week, then they need to go. There is no choice, folks. There's no other option. As the feds do their thing and some of the people in the states do their thing, we're coming to a time that things are going to have to come to a head. If we want this state, and if we want the people of this state to be prosperous, if we want the people of this state to be more free, then you have to get active. You have to make phone calls. You have to make emails. You have to make visits to the Capitol. You have to talk to your representatives. And we need to tell a lot of these guys, hey, you need to have a big meeting with Plocher the blocker, and tell him to get these bills out on the floor. One guy cannot just keep this all to himself. If the others in the Republican caucus would stand up and if they would grow a backbone, and I'm not saying all of them don't have a backbone. Some of them do. People like Susie Pollack and Bill Eigel and some of those, they have a backbone. Some of them do not. My state rep, Bruce Assman, he voted for the gas tax. He doesn't have a spine. He needs to go. We need to find somebody else to replace him who really understands that since since COVID and since the lockdowns and since the shutdowns and because of the inflation, because of god-awful federal spending and relief bills and all these things, that Missourians are having a hard time. A lot of us are still feeling the impact. And so they need to, they need to show that they understand that and they want to do the right thing. They have to show that they're using that gray matter up in that, that cavity up inside their head, and that they actually care. They actually give a crap about you and the things you're going through, and that they're there to serve in your best interest, not in theirs. So, again, the meeting Dean Plocher needs to attend is the meeting with the unemployment office. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he needs to go to the unemployment office. He's a rat. He'll find some job somewhere as a lobbyist or something. If that guy loses an election, he'll find himself some nice, cushy job somewhere, sucking up for money and power. It'd be nice not to have him in the halls of government anymore. Don't get me wrong, but that guy's not, it's not like he's going to be, oh, God, no, he wouldn't file for unemployment. He'd find himself a nice job as a lobbyist or something. He'd do his darndest to keep that money and power somehow. He's not going anywhere. But it is a major improvement. It's 100% improvement to get him out of the House. Just out of the halls of government in Missouri altogether. Make him disappear, you know what I'm saying? But, and speaking of, I have to bring this up. I know this is not Missouri Liberty related, but just because of society, you heard about the tussle with Mike Tyson and the guy on the airplane. Now, here's what surprised me. I see these posts in social media, and I go through the comments section. I would say 95% plus of people said the guy should have just shut up and sat down. He got what he deserved. At this time in the world, I'm really shocked to see that many people backing that up, because this guy was just hassling Tyson like crazy. And Tyson asked him to shut up, because he even took a selfie with the guy. And I don't know if the guy was drunk. I saw a short video clip, and he's just, he's acting completely full-blown retard, okay? And Tyson kind of gives him a few knuckle sandwiches. Now, the guy had some scrapes on his forehead, which means Tyson really didn't hit him that hard. Because if Tyson would have been trying, he probably could have killed that guy. I mean, how is it? This is the kind of world we live in. If anybody's ever seen Mike Tyson's old fights, why would that be the guy that you would sit there and screw with? One punch could render you just, scramble your brains. Why would you think it's a good idea to mess with Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson had his legal problems. Mike Tyson's trying to be a much better person than what he used to be. And he's really trying hard. And he asked the guy to sit down and shut up. He didn't just turn around and whack him. He asked him to sit down and shut up, because the dude was annoying. Now, everybody had their phones out, of course, going, oh, what's going to happen with Mike? Not one stewardess. Now, if you wouldn't have your face diaper on in an airplane, oh my God, the stewardesses be all over you. Nobody was putting this guy in check. Nobody's saying, hey, dude, sit down, stop being unruly, stop bothering the other passengers. So Mike did a little quality control. And when I saw the headline, I'm thinking, I know what happened. Somebody sit there and agitated and irritated to no end, and Mike finally had enough. Because Mike's not the guy to just snap on people. Not anymore. Mike's toned down a lot. So if he did that, I was thinking, I bet it was justified. Then I seen just short 10, 15 seconds. I'm like, yep, it was justified. You could tell from the beginning. It was justified. Passengers on the plane said, yeah, he told him to sit down and shut up. And he just kept on. So anyway, that's the society we live in today. You got Mike Tyson, former heavyweight champion. He's just like this, his stature, his build. He was just, I say freak of nature, but not in a bad way. that dude, when he hit people, it hurts to watch it. He had this patented move where he'd come in, he'd hit them low, and he'd hit him with a body shot, which of course would fold them. Their guard would come down, and then he'd come in with that patented Tyson uppercut, and that was lights out, baby. Night, night. And that's the guy you're going to screw with. It just kills me. It just blows my mind. Anyway, enough about that. So I've only got a few minutes left for my KEYK audience. So to let you know, I was going to have the couple that runs MO Liberty Radio US or radio.us on with me tonight. And one of them is under the weather, so they couldn't join me this week. So next week, I'm going to have attempt to have Sam and Trish Britton on from MO Liberty Radio.us. And the reason I want them on here is because I feel we need more we need even more networks dedicated to freedom and liberty, so people can be educated about all the groups out there that are doing good things, and talk to them about their venture, what they started out doing, and how they got to the point they're running an internet network, and they have these shows from all across the country that they play every week. Some really interesting stuff from personalities all across the nation. And maybe somebody hears that and go, huh, because honestly, if you have, I think it's Winamp, and you pay, I don't know, you could pay like $10-12 a month, and if you have a little computer that you could just dedicate to it, you literally just have your own internet stream. You know, if you know IP addresses of shows that or networks that you could literally just make a file and say at this time you jump to this one, at this time you jump to this one. It's not that hard. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to have you. I want you to feel pity for them. They're both blind, okay? They're both blind, and they're doing this. So that means, and again, not saying because they're blind that they're, I shouldn't even say it, but they see more things than sighted people do on a lot of issues. They've been around the block. They've worn the T-shirt several times. So I'm going to have them on with me next week, hopefully. Hopefully he's feeling better. Come on next week and join me, and we can talk about their journey in the freedom movement and what their network has done, how long they've been at it. They carry me. They gave me my first shot years ago, and when I decided to go back to it again, they said, "We got a spot for you right here. Let's do it." They've given me the spot immediately. I've got a great friendship with them. It's awesome. So I wanted to give them a chance to tell their story, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help pull people towards their network. Maybe somebody finds a show on there they really like, and I'm just trying to get these networks an audience because I think they have a good message, and everybody has some different personalities on there. There might be shows you really enjoy, and you're helping get them some traction, get them an audience, and help spread the message of freedom and liberty. The week after that, I'm going to attempt to have on Bill Mundhausen, who owns KEYK in Lake of the Ozarks, who also carries my show. And I'm going to try to have him on to discuss his network and what he's trying to do, because they have radio and internet website that you can listen to the stream on there as well. I'm going to have him on, give him some time to discuss his network, some of the shows he carries, his journey in starting up this little radio station. Because, again, he's got some good shows on there, and I would like to get him. They've given me a shot, and I've been on KEYK for close to a year, been on MOLibertyRadio.us for 3 years or better now. I mean, they've given me a slot. They've given me, they've backed me up, and so I want to do the same thing for them. I want to return the favor. And so the people who don't hear me on the radio or the internet, my downloaders, gives them an opportunity to hear from these folks, and maybe draw them some more traffic, and Help spread the message of freedom and liberty here in Missouri and around, across the U.S. and around the world, if so be it. If that happens, awesome. Because liberty is a perfect message. Freedom is a perfect message. We might be imperfect messengers, but liberty is the perfect message, the absolute perfect message. It gives us the best chance of being prosperous, keeping the fruits of our labor, making more choices for ourselves and our family. And we get to see more people succeed, more businesses succeed. It's just an all-around beautiful thing. So anyway, to those of you at KEYK, I also ask that you check out molibertyradio.us. Okay? That's another network I'd like to, just give her a shot sometime. molibertyradio.us. And also check out Darren Weeks's network. He's out of Michigan. governamerica.com. So I'd ask that you check those two networks out as well. And if you come back and watch the video, I will have links to all those networks. Also, don't forget about MissouriFreedomInitiative.com. Look them up online and look up their channel on YouTube. Every Sunday and Thursday nights, they do live streams at 7:30. Really like to see some of those folks come in on the YouTube side and make comments, ask questions. Patrick, Casey, Caleb, Ganai, Voodoo Queen, Jonathan Ashley chimes in. They got a lot of interesting people, and they know their stuff. So, see y'all next week. Have a great week. All right, moving on. Let's see. I got an interesting article here. This one kind of mind-blowing a little bit. And this doesn't happen necessarily do with Missouri, but it kind of does. It says, in other countries, the government fills out your tax form. Why not here? How about before I may not even read this article, just the headline alone. Would you really want the government filling out your tax form for you? I mean, I don't. This is an opinion piece, okay? This is from the MissouriIndependent.com, by the way. And this one was written on looks like April 18th. But, KC, thanks, man. Been listening while I'm working. Appreciate it, brother. But would you really want the government to fill out your taxes for you? We can't even... we have such a convoluted tax system to begin with. I mean, I don't know how many books the tax forms fill up, but our tax code is just, I'm sure it's miles and miles of sheets of paper. Yeah, Jonathan Ashley says, I don't trust the government with a pencil. Yeah, I don't trust them with any. I don't trust the government with anything. And some people, when you say that, go, well, and then you say, what have they done right lately? They'll have to think long and hard. And then if they do come up with something, you'll be like, really, bro? Come on, really? That's your answer? Really? It just, again, if you put the government in control of the Sahara Desert in about 2 to 3 years, you'd have a sand shortage. Why the heck would I want an entity like that, a group of people who are greedy, who want to tax you more? You're going to trust them to fill out your tax form? Listen, people, I've smoked some really good stuff before. The guy who wrote this is not smoking marijuana. That is not a marijuana good idea. That's methamphetamine or heroin or something. That's the dangerous stuff that you're taking to have those, to form those kind of thoughts and then write them, type them out and put them on a website somewhere. I'm sure there are people out there who think that would be a good idea. Well, it sure saved me a lot of time. Yeah, could just cost you more money too. You may not get the refund you're supposed to get because you trusted the government. It's probably the same guy who would irritate Mike Tyson until he got punched in the face. I just about guarantee it. He'd be like, hey, Mike, you want to go a couple rounds? And Mike's like, bro, do you really want to go a couple rounds with me? Like, yeah, man, I trust the government. And Mike just hits him in the head once. And he's like, oh, bro, that was a bad idea. Yeah, it was. You trusted the government? You think Mike Tyson's not going to clean your clock with one shot? You know, I hate the fact, yeah, whoever came up with this is snorting Ajax. It could be. It reminds me of that Cheech and Chong movie where it's like, had Ajax on the counter and the gal thought it was Coke, and he's like, hey, man, don't do that. Just snorts it all up. Oh, that's a great movie. I think it was Up in Smoke. I believe that was the movie Up in Smoke. But anyway, I do believe the U.S. has one of the more convoluted structures and also requires a lot more effort to understand. It forces individuals to engage much more directly with the tax system than other industrialized countries. Even for people who don't pay fees to a tax preparer or for tax prep software, there's a significant opportunity cost to filing, he says. Most people are going to take a weekend or a couple of days, and it's not just time. It creates more stress than is necessary, I believe. You can't even export your W-2 data into that document. That creates opportunities for error and reasons to worry. Not all those worries are based on probability, he adds. Most people aren't going to get audited, even though that's a looming thing that people think about. Yeah, because you're dealing with the government. Of course you're going to be worried about getting audited. The IRS has an agenda. There's a political agenda in every government bureaucracy. You can't find a government office anymore really without some kind of political agenda involved. Why? Look at what happened when Obama was in office and what he did to a bunch of conservative groups. That's the group of people you want to fill out your tax forms? Are you high? No. Are you drunk? Like in a bad blackout drunk, where you're not even going to remember that you typed this up. This is such a big problem in this country that there are still so many people that put their faith and trust in a government official. And yikes. It's scary. It's scary, folks. What do? I mean, how many examples do we have to show people before they figure out that maybe, just maybe, I shouldn't want the government to fill out forms of any kind for me? I shouldn't want to register my firearms because, well, I mean, how badly could that turn out? I saw a tweet or a meme the other day, and it was showing Kyle Rittenhouse. It was a picture of him with his AR up in the air, and he's walking up a street. And this German said, I don't understand how a kid could just walk up the street with a rifle. And somebody, I don't remember exactly how they responded, but they said something about I bet the Jews wish they could have. I mean, it was a perfect clapback. It was amazing. And that's of course coming from countries with lots and lots of gun laws and lots of restrictions, and they think it's a good thing. And again, going back to the lockdowns and the shutdowns, what did we see? The countries with the strictest gun laws had the worst and most strict lockdowns and shutdowns. And passports and all that stuff. Australia, Germany, France. Look at all these countries. They have strict gun laws. What do they have more of? Tyranny. I mean, sure, we had states, New York, California. What do they have there? Way more strict gun laws. Illinois, same way. Way more strict gun laws. What do they have more of? Bat flu tyranny. So, and it begs the question: when we see how government reacted to this pandemic, and you saw how they ruined the livelihoods of thousands of people, that even though that had to do more with the CDC and the NIH and all that, still government agencies. Now, after seeing that, you would trust the government to fill out your tax forms? Surely you must be kidding. I'm not kidding, and don't call me Shirley. Another movie quote I had to throw in there. But it begs the question, how many examples of overstepping by government agencies, government bureaucracies, government employees, how many examples do we have to see before you don't enter into your little pea brain that you let the government fill out any form for you, tax form or otherwise? I'm just asking. I'm just saying. How do you, I mean, it reminds you of Back to the Future. Hello, anybody home? With McFly. That's literally what sometimes I feel like we should do. We should go around knocking on the heads of people and saying, is there anybody home? The light's on. The elevator doesn't go all the way to the top floor. Or he's not playing with a full deck. Or he's a couple sandwiches short of a picnic. Or he's a couple fries short of a Happy Meal. I mean, you got numerous examples of documenting that a person isn't quite right upstairs. But seeing this and saying to and them saying to themselves, seeing everything that's happened the last 2 years and saying, what would be even more awesome? If we just let government handle our taxes for us because other countries do it. I mean, listen, when are we going to get out of this mindset that just because other countries do it doesn't mean we have to do it too? Honestly? How do we get to, when do we get to that point? Missouri with the PDMP. We're the only state that doesn't have it. Good. Why do we need it? We didn't need it. There's probably federal funding involved there, and they were disappointed they weren't getting their little federal funding for having that PDMP. But this mentality that other places do it, why don't we do it? How about if another place was more free, would you want to mimic that? Or would you just rather mimic countries who enforce more tyrannical rules or grow their what am I looking for here? What's the terminology? The surveillance state even more, or higher taxation, or more wokeness? You'd rather mimic that than maybe a country that allows their people to make more choices and have more freedom, or just mimic a state that decides to give their people more freedom? No, you'd rather, half these people would rather mimic and be like places that stomp on your freedom, enact more controls, rules, laws, regulations on their citizens. That's the people they'd rather follow behind. Those people wouldn't know freedom if it hit them in the head. And it shot up a flare gun and then sent a skywriter over the top and said, freedom. They wouldn't look up. They'd be like, the airplane's doing whoop-de-whoops. They wouldn't even see the word freedom. They wouldn't see the board that had freedom engraved in it that smashed them in the forehead, even imprinted the word freedom on their forehead. They'd think it was Latin. Oh, somebody put hieroglyphics on my forehead. Now I'm Egyptian. No, now you're still a moron. It's a little irritating to me. It's a lot irritating to me, and I know I make all these ridiculous statements, and I try to be comical about it. That's how I deal with things, folks. I make fun of people and things. Comedy is how I relieve stress and deal with the stupid of the world. Now, we are seeing things like Disney, Netflix, and some of these companies taking big hits because they're tired of wokeness. They're tired of wanting to teach kindergartners about sexuality. We are seeing some good things come out of this. That these companies, stock prices dropping 25% plus. That's a good thing. The problem is we have to keep that momentum. It's not really a problem. The thing is we have to keep that momentum going forward. We need to it's great that you want to take and you want to act, or clap back at a company that says they support teaching sexuality to a kindergartner. But that mindset has to spread across all things: taxation, gun rights, civil liberties, nullification, jury nullification, all those things. Yeah, Voodoo Queen says freedom takes work, control is for lazy people. That's exactly right. If you would rather have the government take over some other, part of your life, healthcare, even more control in education, even more control in healthcare, more taxes, that's because you're lazy and you don't want to work for what's best for you. You just assume give the responsibility to a bunch of people who really love their money and control, and then you hopefully get a little kickback from them once in a while, and in the form of a CARES Act or something, where they print money, they dump it into the economy, and then go, none of us saw this inflation coming. That's the mentality that we deal with in certain people. It is. It's awful. It's horrific. But what the heck are you gonna do? So that's just some food for thought. But yeah, if you think that you should let the government fill out your tax forms, then you're special. You're really, really special. So, all right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Missouri Liberty Report. Thanks to all Voodoo Queen, Ganai, Jonathan Ashley, Casey Rich, all those who joined in the live stream tonight. Greatly appreciate all of you. And again, if you come back in a little bit in the description, I will, because I can't do two things at once, I will have links to all the networks that I've talked about, Missouri Freedom Initiative's YouTube channel, their website, molibertyradio.us, keygatheringplace.com, governamerica.com, and then I will also put a link to HB 2704 in the description, so come back in just a few minutes, and I will have all those links up, ready to go. But again, thanks to all who joined in. Greatly appreciate you guys. Greatly appreciate the work that you guys put in for freedom and liberty in Missouri, and we will keep working on that. And again, don't forget, April 26th at the Capitol, we have a gun rights rally, but this gives you the opportunity to talk to your state rep, because more than likely they're going to be sitting in their offices. So this gives you an opportunity to interact with them and tell them how you feel on, HB 1992, HB 2009, HB 2111, or 2118. I almost said 211118. Too many numbers. 2118, HB 2704. I think 1613, which is the, why can I never remember the technical term? Asset forfeiture. Tony Lovasco's bill. So all those bills, go tell them, hey, we want to see these bills go. We want to get them on the floor. We want to get them through the House. Let's do it. All right? So anyway, good night to all of you, and I will see you all next Friday at 6:30, and hopefully I will have Sam and Trish Britton on from MO Liberty Radio US, and we can talk about their network, and maybe we can get more people, we can get more networks created and push the message of freedom and liberty to more folks out there across the United States. So take care, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.